What's going on YouTube? It's NC, a place to be chilling from Mr. A&E. Back to give you guys a SummerSlam review with my homeboy and my co-host, not Deion Sanders for primetime.
What's going on, y'all? It's me, the PRIME.
Yep, so we are here, man, and it's SummerSlam time, and SummerSlam is here. And you know, I'm gonna say this right now, off the back, I enjoy SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, maybe in the pandemic era, if what we're gonna call it, this probably was the best pandemic
show
era pay-per-view.
I think so, because I'm not gonna lie, that it being in the Thunderdome gave it a different aspect than it did in the
you mean like an actual pay-per-view feel?
Yeah, it gave it an actual pay-per-view feel. You had the stage, you had the audience, even the
pyro.
You had pyro, even the 2K, crowd noise, so it gets annoying, but it didn't bother me too much today. But like I said, it was in there and I enjoyed it, and like I said, it's just because it was good. It got that performance center. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. It got that performance center. It's good that they got like the arena, because see now it seems like people are just going on about their life during this pandemic, because you're gonna keep arguing about cures and an antidote, or a vaccine for the virus, and then people find out more and more different things. It's just that more and more things are opening with just trying to be temperature checks and high risk, doing all that kind of great stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, well, we gotta do the best we can. So we're here at SummerSlam once again. I have not seen the pre-show, but what I was upset was they moved a match that I really wanted to see onto the pre-show, because I thought if any match was going to get a pre-show match, it would be the tag team championships. But no, Apollo Crews and MVP got to the pre-show. So I missed the pre-show match. I did see Apollo just basically wailing on MVP, wearing the all-white MVP, wearing the black. He giving a couple splashes, gives him the standing moonsault, kicks out. He gives him the toss powerbomb. He was going to win anyway because it's MVP, and MVP doesn't need a championship. It doesn't need to have the championship at all. So I mean, hopefully now, since MVP lost, I'm hoping that Bobby Lashley go after that championship.
Yeah,
because Bobby needs a championship in her. But I'm cool with MVP being the manager. He needs to be the manager. He needs to be the mouthpiece. But you got to put some gold on Bobby so you can build him up so he can go after the world championship.
Yeah, Bobby literally y'all supposed to be my manager, so both of y'all got titles.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that ain't it. So yes, Apollo Crews wins. I'm just a little upset that I didn't get a chance to, see that match live. I'll go back and watch it. So now we get into the start of actual SummerSlam, and the match we start off, which I called it, was Bayley against Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So Asuka's out there looking all cute in her tracksuit. Bayley's out there, and then she has the first matchup. So
Asuka with the tracksuit?
Sasha with the tracksuit, my bad. So the matchup was pretty good. Asuka, had to go through a lot when it came, back and forth with Bayley. There was a spot. So what happened is Sasha was debating if she should help Bayley or not help Bayley in this matchup. If I was Sasha, I wouldn't help Bayley, but that's her best friend. So Bayley is in the ropes, bouncing on the middle and the top rope. Asuka goes for a hip attack. Sasha pushes Bayley out the way, and then Sasha gets hit with the hip attack, which distracts Asuka, and then Bayley gets the roll up, and Bayley keeps her SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah.
So Bayley retains, and so I already know where this is going. So I was just like,
okay. Everybody knew.
And I knew, because, like I said, first of all, people don't realize Sasha don't have a successful title defense. Never.
Ever. They keeping the train going.
They keeping that train going. She's a 5-time women's champion.
Is this a meme now? What is this?
Say what?
Are they gonna start memeing this?
They should have been memeing this joint when she did it.
I'm talking about memeing it. Is it like ongoing? Is it if she won a title in 10 years later, and she only defends it one time?
Yeah, to keep that championship on her longer. So I always have to say, so you already planting the seeds for that on SmackDown. So yeah, Bayley wins, and I thought it was a decent opening matchup. So to kick off SummerSlam.
It was pretty decent.
Next matchup is for the Raw Tag Team Championships. We get the Street Profits taking on Andrade and Angel Garza. The Street Profits come out, and then we get a whole entrance of red solo cups falling from the sky.
Yeah, I was like, all right, is that supposed to be their pyro?
I said, so this is trash. Who's sweeping this up? You know what I'm saying? All this is trash. Like for that 2-second intro, y'all do this, and then as soon as I seen that they had the solo cups with my fingers in quotations, I was just like, well, they're going to win the matchup because I'm like, you're not going to have all that and not so. The matchup.
Just real quick before we start.
Yeah.
What did you think about their attire, the bright green and black?
I mean, unless they were doing it to be like the Pan Africa flag with the red, black, and green, because I know didn't Montes have red shoes on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're going for the Pan Africa colors, I'm all for that because that's the African American flag. But it was just a lot of green. Me personally, when people do the Pan Africa colors, I like the majority black, green, and red. Some people do the majority red, black, and green. Some people do the green, black, and red. I'm the black, red, and green. So, you know, that kind of thing. But it looked like they was trying to do the Pan Africa stuff. So I was all for that. It was just
first thing I thought of was the Boston Celtics for some reason. You know.
Well, I mean, also it could be the Boston Celtics as well because they were supposed to be in Boston that night. Now I don't know if that's where Montez is from because I know Bianca's from North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where Douglas is from. Somewhere in the hood. And I'm just playing. I don't know where he's from. And I don't know where Montez is from. So, like I said, it could have been Boston because he was supposed to be in Boston. Or it could have been Pan Africa. You know, it was just a lot of green. Montez and Angel Garza are in the ring. And then Angel Garza hits him with a knee. And he kind of backs up and hits he's like a super kick. He falls back and Selena Vega's on the apron and then it hits Montez hits her. She falls down to the ground. Andrade's over there checking on Selena Vega, not paying attention. Angel Garza gets the sky high from Dawkins and then Montez, because he can, does a frog splash, jumps so high in the air, he does a 180. Like, okay, so Garza's laying down the regular way, and then of course Montez on top rope, and he could have did a regular frog splash, but no, he decides to turn, and so now his face and his head is directly at the turnbuckle where he jumped from. And I'm like, that man is a special kind of athlete.
I think he should do what RVD used to do. Like, that is awesome, but RVD used to do it like. RVD used to go to like the opposite turnbuckle and do that.
Yeah.
For no reason. I think that's something I tell you. Instead of going to the one that's like right here, that's closest.
Yeah.
You should go to like the one that's furthest away and do that because it look more cooler.
But see, the difference is, no matter where you was at in the ring, when RVD got up there, he would just do it, and he'd be like, "Can he make it?" And he ends up making it. The difference.
That's not like his thing. His thing was like, "Can he make it?"
Yeah.
You know he can make
it would just be so odd. The thing about Montez, though, is he's turning in the air. RVD never turned really much in the air. RVD was long distances, and then he would like turn sideways if the angle was off. This man turns in 180. Like, his head is now facing the turnbuckle when his foot was facing the turnbuckle, and that's impressive.
Yep.
So it's instead of copying RVD's thing, he does his own kind of thing to it also. So they retained the Raw Tag Team Championships, which they should have. So I was glad on that. Next matchup, the no disqualification match. The loser leaves WWE match. Mandy Rose taking on Sonya Deville. I understand Mandy Rose's gear. I was like, she's not done taking it off or what? So they should. They don't start out with no lockup.
I didn't understand that either, but like, I don't know. I see a lot of people talk about, this is the best gear. I'm like, really? That was the best gear?
No, it really wasn't. It looked like it was about to rip or something like that. So Mandy off the bat tries to go for her knee attack, and Sonya catches that joint, just like tosses her back, and then it doing the submissions and working on Mandy Rose, and she keeps taunting her. But then Mandy's not taking it. They take it to the outside. Mandy does a suplex to her on the steel ramp. Seeing that kind of stuff, because we're in an arena, is cool. Because we wouldn't have got that at the Performance Center too much. So she does a suplex to her on the steel ramp, throws her into the barricade, the steel steps. They come over to the announce table, and then she be beating Sonya Deville's head in. So yeah, like Mandy Rose is getting the upper hand in this matchup with Sonya Deville. And then Sonya comes back. She tries to go for a knee again. Sonya reverses it, puts it into the Dragon Sleeper. And I was like, oh, that's cool to see the Dragon Sleeper. And then she sits on it, tries to make Mandy tap out. Mandy does not tap out yet. She's still taunting her with the kicks. She tries to put her in the arm bar. She tries to really make Mandy tap out the matchup. But Mandy, still not giving up, fights back, takes out a table. And I was just like, oh, we can get a table spot with these women. So they didn't necessarily get a table spot, really. She used it as like a thing where she took out a chair and she tried to slide it then across the table and take Sonya's head off, and Sonya just ducked it. So they made it look cool. And I was like, okay, because Vince don't like women using a lot of tables because they don't break and it looks less impactful because they're light. And I was like, when you got two,
I would like a table. I would like for them to use a table so where it don't even have to break. Just something cool with a table. Yeah,
but I thought this was cool, like slide the chairs across, try to take her head off, and then Sonya just kind of.
I know, I'm saying this is something. I was just saying like this is something cool they can do where it don't require the table to break and it's still,
Exactly. Yeah. So Sonya keeps ducking, but then we get back into the ring. But then as Sonya gets mad, takes the table out the way, she hits Mandy with a knee of her own. Then she goes to try to steal Mandy's finishing move, but Mandy gets out of it, hits 3 knees, and then does her finishing move, and then does 1 more knee. I was like, damn. And then it puts Sonya out the misery. 1, 2, 3, Mandy Rose wins. Sonya Deville is leaving WWE, which we kind of knew was going to happen. And then Otis comes out to celebrate.
I don't know if she's leaving, and then whenever she comes back, she's going to have a different name. I don't know why, because like I just seen a backstage video, and that was called Sonya. She was like, "Don't call me that name ever again."
Oh, it could be. She could be coming back as a different name, but yeah, like I said, but as of right now, she does need to take some time, take a break and stuff like that. Yeah. And so Mandy comes out. She tries to do the backwards worm, and then it doesn't work. Corey Graves said, "I knew it was going to be like this because I watch her on TikTok." So
it's like, I don't know if you ever seen Trish Stratus do the worm, but they both in the running for worst worms ever.
Oh, well, now you know what it's time for. You know what it's time for. It's time for the street fight.
Break.
No, it's not. No, we not. You know what? When you say that, I miss Carmella and R-Truth, but no, it's time for Seth Rollins with Murphy taking on Dominic Mysterio with Rey Mysterio in a street fight. So we just seen how Pat McAfee did at TakeOver last night. How is Dominic going to fare when it comes to being somebody who really hasn't wrestled too much going against Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins comes out with the pink Rey Mysterio Riddler gear. That's his Monday Night Messiah on there. And then
I like it.
Yeah.
From Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. And then Dominic comes out. Ricochet was so nice to let him borrow his Nightwing costume. That's what it looked like.
I think that'll be his costumes, like for like the time being, like that type of style. Yeah. You know, Rey Mysterio has his type of style for his tights.
I
think that's gonna be Dominic's like style.
Yeah. So Seth Rollins at the beginning is just showing off all his wrestling moves, showing that he can out wrestle Dominic. We do see backstage that Dominic's mom is backstage. And you know what I'm saying? And she looks what's her name? Angie? Yeah, because
I don't know what her mom name is.
I'm about to tell you, Angie ain't with the shit, sorry. So, like I said, Seth Rollins is doing the whole thing of trying to wrestle Dominic, but then here come the Arm Drag City, and Dominic shows that he can do a little wrestling, but Murphy gives the kendo stick to Seth Rollins. And then but Dominic still is fighting back. Seth Rollins is taunting Rey Mysterio inside the ring, like, come on, Rey, you will come in here and save your son, Rey. Gives him sling blades and things like that. He keeps taunting Rey Mysterio. And then finally, Dominic finds an opening and it hits Seth Rollins with the kendo stick. And I mean, wails on Seth Rollins. Actually breaks the kendo stick over his back, and you see the marks in Seth Rollins' back. It's brutal. Seth Rollins comes back, goes for the Falcon's Arrow, the Superplex Falcon Arrow combination, and then he kicks out. Rey Mysterio's still trying to not come into the matchup. They set up a table, and he's about to put Dominic through the table, but Dominic fights out of it and does a Russian leg sweep with the kendo stick to Seth Rollins through the table. I was like, I didn't expect him to do that.
You know what he should have did, right?
What should he do?
The stroke.
The stroke. A bunch of slap nuts. Never sold a dime. Never drew a dime. Dominic goes up to the top for a frog splash from Uncle Eddie, and hits a frog splash, and then Seth Rollins kicks out. It was a nice looking frog splash. Seth hits him with the power bomb and it rips off his top. Like, you're not gonna be a D'Lo Brown chest protector. You're gonna take these kendo stick shots. So then, at the kendo sticks coming, Angie's about to walk out there. Dominic's mom like, no, he gonna beat up my son like that. But Rey Mysterio's just like, no, in Spanish, like, yo, you gotta stay back. Dominic is still fighting off Seth Rollins, but as Mysterio's distracted with Angie, here comes Murphy in to give Dominic a knee and try to gouge his eye out. Then Mysterio comes, starts beating up on Murphy. Then they double team Mysterio, and then Seth has handcuffs. You called this spot, Prime. Dominic tries to fight back Mysterio and Seth Rollins and Murphy, but they handcuff Mysterio. And as he's handcuffed, the Dominic's in the inside gives Rollins a 619 from the left. Goes for another frog splash, but Rollins gets his knees up. And as he gets his knees up, he's beating him down some more. It's like, come on, Ray, come a little bit closer. And then gives Dominic a curb stomp right in front of Ray's face. 1, 2, 3, Seth Rollins beats Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. I thought it was a good street fight. Dominic did not go out there and embarrass himself.
That's pretty solid.
It was solid. Do I think Pat McAfee had the better performance yesterday? Yes. But for Dominic to have like his first official WWE match, it being a street fight, like I said, because it was a street fight to cover up some things. But you know what I'm saying. But I was watching, like, he knows how to protect himself. Seth knows how to protect him, like, you know, with the Falcon's Arrow and Superplex Falcon Arrow combination. The curb stomp, you know, the kendo stick shots, he going to eat those. The Russian leg sweep through the table surprised me also. And it
did look safe too.
It did. It looked good. The frog splash was cool. The 619 was cool. Seth Rollins drops the keys to Dominic so he can unlock his dad from the ropes. And his dad is all, you know, hugging him and everything. Like,
see, if I was him, I would not have even did that.
Say what? You would do
what? I would
what?
have threw the keys. Actually, not throw them at him. I would have just threw them, like, in the arena somewhere.
Oh, Stephman, best. I mean, that's a heel thing to do. That is a true heel thing to do. But yeah.
I would have, like, wait till he got, like, right there to get the keys. Like, wait till I would have held him out for him to get them. As soon as he was, like, right there, just throw him in the crowd. Or throw him.
You right.
Go find him and then, you know.
All right. So now, next up
Which
is...
would be difficult because they got one eye. But, you know,
you drew. Next up is for the Raw Women's Championship, Sasha Banks taking on Asuka. In my personal opinion, I think between...
Sasha had to get tonight? Oh, sorry.
So, well, in my personal opinion, this was the better match. They went
the two? Yes.
Of the two, yeah. This was the better match of the two.
I would definitely agree that, and I would agree that Sasha Banks probably had the best gear of the night.
Yeah, she did some good gear.
Oh, yeah, the white and the gray and the cheetah print was good.
Yes, it was. Sasha, Asuka's on the apron. Sasha does it on the apron. She does a running sunset flip power bomb beautifully. She didn't botch it to Asuka on the outside. That shit looked like it sucked. Like they showed it slow motion. You can see her head bouncing and everything, and you just heard the smack. And then so Sasha goes back in the ring, trying to get a count out victory on Asuka, but Asuka gets back into the ring. Like that power bomb was crazy. So then now she's working on Asuka. So now that she goes for double knees, Asuka in the corner. Asuka reverses it and like into an electric chair, drops her down, goes for the ankle out, trying to make her submit. You can hear Sasha screaming for Bayley like the whole time. There's a time Sasha does a top rope DDT to Sasha Banks and for a near fall, and then Asuka, like she's trying to come off the top rope and do something, but Asuka hits her with the double knees, which looked very sick in the corner. And then she goes for a bank statement. Asuka gets out, and then now we're going to the next spot where Sasha is on the ropes. Asuka's about to go for a hip attack. So you see Bayley trying to contemplate what to do. So is she going to sacrifice herself like her friend did for her, or what? So she goes up there, and then she kind of moves Sasha out the way, but she moves out the way too. So Asuka doesn't get a hip attack, but Asuka looks at her and kicks Bayley off the apron. So Bayley is no longer a factor, and then Sasha rolls in, and then she gets into the Asuka lock, and she very faintly taps out. So Asuka is
key word. Faintly is the key word.
Yeah, taps out, and because you really couldn't even tell if it was a tap out or not. So I know it's gonna be playing to the story, and then Asuka is your new Raw Women's Champion, and basically I can't remember.
Two-time champion.
Asuka for Raw.
Is that 2 or 3 already?
That's 2.
No, she's a 3-time Women's Champion overall, and then 2 for Raw. Okay.
Exactly. So Bayley, he's like, I'm sorry, but Bayley is kind of low key happy that her friend lost. So, how'd you like the match?
It was solid, like you said. I feel like the best out of the 2.
Yeah, in my opinion,
the 2 Sasha and Bayley and Asuka matches, not the Mandy.
Yeah, I don't understand. Because we go to a little promo, because you know what's next Sunday?
Payback.
Why?
End of the line. I don't know.
A roadblock, end of the line. No.
Who knows why?
Why are we having a pay-per-view a week after SummerSlam?
So somebody later in the night can win that championship. That's why.
So not only do we have Payback next Sunday, we have Keith Lee coming to Raw tomorrow night.
We'll see what happens.
So I'm like, are you serious right now? I'm like, why don't y'all just let Keith Lee come? And then, because now they have to, every Raw and SmackDown we see this week is a go-home show to Payback.
Yeah, but I don't know why they I don't know why they gotta announce or spoil everything. Why they can't just let them come on there and people be like, oh, Keith Lee's on Raw, and I'll start watching.
Exactly, because they don't want the word of mouth and do it the natural way. They want to sit there and try to get people to turn on the channel. Like, Keith Lee's coming. You want to see Keith Lee? Here he is. Come turn on tomorrow. I'm like, you gotta let things naturally. Things happen when it happens organically, and when it doesn't happen organically, then that becomes a problem.
Then you can tell.
Yeah. WWE Championship matchup now. Randy Orton goes up against Drew McIntyre. So, I'm looking forward to this match because Randy Orton has been on fire. Randy Orton is a legend killer. Randy Orton is a favorite wrestler of mine. Randy Orton starts off with the mind games that Drew McIntyre is ready for. And then, he goes for the RKO early, but he slips out of it. And then, Drew McIntyre selling the fact that, he almost got hit with the RKO. We on the outside. Randy Orton smashes Drew McIntyre's head to the announce table. Does the backdrop to Drew on the announce table. And then superplexes him off the announce table onto the floor. That looks like it sucks also. Now Randy Orton does the whole Randy Orton kind of match type thing. And he's getting the best of Drew McIntyre. But Drew McIntyre hits a Glasgow kiss. I don't know if that headbutt busted Randy Orton open, but Randy Orton got busted open somehow.
I thought Drew was the one that got busted open in the middle of his head and he got on Orton. Or maybe both got a little spot.
I think maybe they got a little color, but I've mostly seen the color on Randy Orton.
Okay, well, probably just Orton then.
Yeah. So I don't know if the headbutt did that.
Joe's on commentary, so Joe should have been like, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they still go back and forth in the matchup. And then Drew McIntyre comes off the top rope with a flying clothesline, building momentum. I like when Orton's on the top rope, and then Drew McIntyre, he has this thing where he's in like the tree of woe, and then he does a sit up and grabs you like a spider suplex and did No Mercy, and takes you off the top rope. I always love that kind of move. So he hits the power bomb on Randy Orton, and he's like, "Let's do this." we're going for the Claymore. So he goes for the Claymore kick, but Randy Orton ducks it. So he just flies over, goes for the RKO, and then Drew gets out of it and hits the backslide and beats Randy Orton 1, 2, 3, and remains your WWE champion.
Interesting.
I was.
You think they rematch at Payback next week?
You have to, because ain't nothing else there's nothing else for Drew McIntyre to do. You can't build a random storyline up in one day that you do like a battle royal. Because the only other person I'd be like, well, you give Bobby another chance. But other than that, I'm like, it's definitely going to be a rematch at Payback, 2 out of 3 falls or something. Hopefully. Main event time, which I think it was going to be the main event, but I know why it's the main event now. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt taking on Braun Strowman in a Falls Count Anywhere match. So this match started like
Swamp Fest 20,000, 2,000.
No, it ain't Swamp Fest. It ain't a Boneyard. Ain't none of that stuff. It's just a Falls Count Anywhere matchup. So I thought we was going to get some trickery and some kind of cut scenes and stuff like that, because you played Alexa Bliss in this storyline a lot, but Alexa Bliss was nowhere to be found at all. And I was like, okay. So I mean, the brawl starts off.
Is she? Do you think they gonna repackage her?
Maybe because because when you interfere with the Fiend, it changes you. So Braun Strowman, they start fighting. The Fiend does a standing rock bottom, does the neck snap to Braun Strowman, takes a toolbox and hits him in the back with it, and then which later I was like, okay, that was a pointless use of the toolbox, but has a toolbox. Braun Strowman's fighting back, runs the Fiend right through the the barricade on the side, spears him through there, choke slams him on the table that don't break. That looked like it sucked too.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, it kind of broke in, but it just didn't it didn't break. And then the Fiend comes and sits back up. Strowman takes the steel steps, hits him with the steel steps, and then they start fighting up the stage. But then they go to the gorilla position. For some reason, it's like a red ambiance light. The Fiend starts tossing Braun Strowman into the walls. Hits his sister Abigail 1, 2. Oh, Braun kicks out, and then we start going back to the ring. I was just like, why? It's a Falls Count Anywhere. Yep. So you got the whole arena to yourself. There's no workers and stuff like that, and you can destroy whatever you want to. That's why I thought we was going to have some cut scenes and the Fiend was going to play some mind games, but no. He comes back, chops down Braun Strowman, gives him a Manimal Claw by the ring, but then Braun fights out of it, gives him a power slam, but the Fiend kicks out again. It's the second power slam the Fiend has kicked out of. And Braun is getting upset, like, why won't you die? And then he goes into the toolbox and, not doing what Gargano did or Ciampa did or Kenny Omega or Moxley.
Something stupid.
Yeah, he goes against a box cutter. And he starts cutting the ring to expose the wood.
Bully Ray here and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, he starts exposing the wood. He don't even expose that much of it. It's just a little bit of it. And then the Fiend goes and gives him he goes and gives that little standing right bottom on the wood. But you recognize there's still like a little bit of padding that's right there. It's like if you got like a square of wood, there's one square that still got the padding on there. So that's the part that Braun Strowman was falling down on. And I'm like, okay. It didn't look, you know how when they did the Hell in a Cell match and Brock just ripped that joint up, and then Undertaker chokes in him on the actual wood. It don't look stiff. Yeah. Or when Kenny Omega did something stupid, did the Phoenix Splash and landed right on the wood.
That was nasty.
That was dumb. Or when John Gargano got DDT'd on the wood. All that stuff looked stiff. This looked like it was bad. And then he gets his sister Abigail barely on the wood. Like they're not even really hitting the wood. And then the Fiend wins the Universal Championship. Now, I was like underwhelmed a little bit, because I was expecting, when you're dealing with Fiend matches and you're doing a Falls Count Anywhere, I'm expecting something Alexa Bliss related, because y'all really worked her deep into the storyline. I thought it was going to be some cutscenes of him playing with his mind, or even Braun Strowman playing with his mind. That's why I thought they made a Falls Count Anywhere match. I thought this thing was going to end in the back. You chokeslammed him out of a truck carrier opening, and I thought that he was going to get his retribution back or to play some kind of mind games. I thought there's a lot they could have did with this, but they didn't. Or even have all the screens that had the people on there turn to like the Fiend or something like that. I thought that,
or the puppets,
or the puppets, or somebody. I thought it was going to be something.
Even Alexa.
That would have been cool. Like along with if you're going to have a false.
You know what? I think they learned their lesson. Never mind.
Oh, you mean we're going to at the ring full of cockroaches?
Yeah. They probably said we're not doing nothing like that again with Bray Wyatt. Even if it's something cool, it's a good idea. We're not doing nothing like that again.
But I just felt as though, but now when you're in the pandemic, the mind games is cool. And I'm like, well, we should go and do the mind games. And they didn't do that. And then, so after the match, we not done because out of nowhere, here come Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes in, spears the hell out the Fiend, then is pissed off, and then goes spears Braun Strowman on the outside. He says, "You're not no monster. You're just a man in a mask." Like really undermining the Fiend. He has a new shirt, wreck everyone and leave. I'm like, okay. So he takes a chair, wails that on Braun Strowman, then goes into the ring and then spears the Fiend again and holds up the Universal Championship. And that's how SummerSlam ends. So if that's what you really wasn't going to see coming, I was just like, see, the thing is, I didn't know about Roman Reigns. So I was like, whoa, I was like actually shocked that Roman Reigns did come out there. But I was like, but SmackDown needs help. I heard that Roman did talk to his doctor, and his doctor said that his immune system is pretty good enough to sustain what's going on out in this world. But he was worried about them. Hopefully. But he was worried about them kids. So since WWE has been forced to do testing and do stuff like that over and over again, then yeah, it's going to be they're going to be operating in their little bubble like the NBA is doing. I figured Roman was like, okay, well maybe it's a good time for me to come back. But I was like, why are we even hinting at this match now when this is clearly supposed to be their WrestleMania idea?
Is it? Because I thought he was supposed to be going up against Goldberg, actually.
At next year's WrestleMania?
No, this year.
No, I'm talking about for next year.
I'm talking about next year. Okay, well, yeah.
I'm talking about next year's WrestleMania. Their plan was The Fiend versus Roman Reigns. I'm just like, well, what's going on now? So then on top of that, it's like, is Roman just being a big dog? Is he trying to be a heel? What's the case? Because I see a lot of people, booing or putting their thumbs down in the screen when Roman came there and just started spearing The Fiend. I'm just like, so are y'all going to do The Fiend versus Roman Reigns at Payback? Am I cool if Roman Reigns comes back? Yeah, because it helps out SmackDown a lot. Keith Lee's going to help out Raw a lot. But however,
Roman Reigns versus The Fiend at
Payback, like, ill. Like, that's just like,
I mean, that was Seth Rollins' match first back. Seth Rollins' first match back was Money in the Bank of all pay-per-views. So I guess they just
Money in the Bank now is their new King of the Ring. That's their top 5.
Oh well,
that's how they treat it. But I'm just like, okay, so I gotta see how it plays out. So that was SummerSlam. So for me, SummerSlam, like I said, even though I felt as though the main event was underwhelming, and there was so much stuff they could have did with their Falls Count Anywhere stipulation, and of course they kept it as the main event so Roman Reigns can come back, I'm gonna give it a B+. I would have gave it an A- or A if they did more with the main event, but since they didn't, and I'm still a little bitter because they put my United States Championship on the pre-show, so I'm gonna give it a high B+. What about you?
Yeah, I gave it a B+, high B+, like you. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really have that much quote nitpicks with the show, so.
Yeah, it was still a good overall show in the pandemic era when the pandemic first started, when we was dealing with WrestleMania. I think this is probably one, if not the best pandemic show they did. And like I said, them getting out the Performance Center and doing this in the arena and having like the whole Thunderdome thing, that, believe it or not, people don't really realize that helps a lot.
Yeah, at first it was distracting. I guess since you get used to it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like NBA. I don't know, because he now says the WWE has an idea, NBA has an idea, MLB had an idea. I don't like it, but they have an idea. I'm curious to see how football is going to take all this in. Also, I'm really curious to see how that's going to be. because that's going to be the most interesting one. You know, they operate with a whole lot of money, and if they're going to just play in an empty outside arena with no fans, that's going to be a tough sell to watch. But like I said, the arena helped everything. The fans, in attendance with the whole Thunderdome. It being a Thunderdome, if this was at the PC, it would have sucked. And like I said, I think that the crowd noise and then, all that stuff kind of helps it out a lot. So it gets to be plus for me. So post any comments down below. How'd you guys feel about SummerSlam? If you guys enjoyed it or not. If you enjoyed
the whole thing.
I can't say end of the line. It's not end of the line yet.
No, you'll never see it coming.
Oh yeah. Guess what? It's SummerSlam. You'll never see it coming.
I feel like I called it on here. I was like, if it's not dun then it's gonna be dun 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 dun. It's one of the two.
You right. You called that because I damn sure looked over that. So post any comments down below. How did you guys enjoy SummerSlam? Was this the best pandemic show in your opinion? And hit the like button if you guys enjoyed our review, and hit the subscribe button for more right here at Nerd Culture Studios. So once again, this is NC and place to be. Children, Mr. Andy, and not Deion Sanders of Primetime.
All right, y'all.
All right, and Nerd Coalition is out.